dancer or as a choreographer, because I figure other people can cover that better than I can. I'm going to talk about her as my friend. I've known her since the late 70s. It was fun to know her. You know how, like, John Lewis says there's good trouble? Well, I made up a word for Elena, which is hard fun. Like, working with Elena and doing stuff with Elena was like hard fun. You had to put a lot into it, but it was so much fun. Whatever she did, she poured herself and her passion into it. Whether it was dance, whether it was cat rescue, or her family. And she worked hard at that, really hard and passionately at all of it, all the time, all go. I love the stimulating and exhausting work of rehearsing with her company. We'd work on a section of a piece over and over, committing to memory the sometimes complex choreography. The next day, she would have improved it, and we'd have to start at the beginning. The dancers had a running joke that we were going to have T-shirts made that said, "We accept change," which we weren't so accepting of some of the time, especially when there was like a performance the next day. Anyway, there is something that Elena said in class one time that I struggled with because it was very much against my own personality. But it stuck with me, and was probably a useful window into a new kind of thought for me. She said, I'm going to try to say it the way she said it. Well, if you're doing something and don't feel it, pretend that you feel it, and until you do. And that was like, it was like, oh, that's fake. I can't do that. But it isn't fake, because you change. So, anyway, one time I visited her in Brooklyn and went with her when she fed the cats living under the boardwalk in Coney Island. And just like the dance, it required a lot of physical stamina. And it was cold that day by the beach. It was winter or early spring, I don't remember which. We went from feeding spot to feeding spot, lugging around dishes and food and water and shopping for cases of food. And she did this for years and years, probably longer than her body could tolerate. But she had so much love and concern for these little creatures that she couldn't give it up. And she worried about them, and she stopped doing it. She felt really bad. She did find somebody.
She saved so much from the Sandy.
So many things. Yeah.
Or on the Broadway, she collected. We kept it. We carried it all her life.
And then she had the ones in front of the house on the cars. Yes. But my cat Licky, that I still have, was a Coney Island cat, and Elena and another cat rescue friend.
What dates was she in Coney Island? I was just asked. What dates did you move to Coney Island?
2008 to 2018.
Okay, thank you.
After the studio.
Okay.
Sort of like that.
I was just saying it, that's why I was right here.
Elena had a lot of interests. She studied piano. She took classes with many of the teachers of other forms of dance at the studio and elsewhere. I know she did flamenco with a lot of different people. I don't think she never studied Indian dance with you, right?
She did the tambourine dance. She studied Najman. Showed the whole thing with the tambourine.
Got some tips from the
Right, I mean, she saw something. We took one time, at Elena's request, we were struggling with the end of the dance. Of course, it was like 2 days before the performance or something like that. And she asked Maria Alba to come in and help us with the very end of the dance, and especially the bow. And that was like, wow. Maria came in, she fixed that thing in 5 minutes, and it was good, and we all knew it was good. And Elena certainly knew it was going to be good, you know, if she had made that request. And then another time, I went with Elena to mime classes that was with a troupe led by a Polish mime, and we did that for her. considerable time. And she incorporated some of that thinking, which I guess was about the breathing and other things into her understanding of her dance, and had us doing it too. And we went to Buto workshops.
That's what it was.
Oh, yes.
That was the goal, yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's
went to
what,
Buto
yeah.
workshops, we went to Buto performances, I love that stuff. I mean, I was an eager
How
participant.
about garbage bags?
That was me. Elena helped me. I went to social work school, and my graduate project, you were there, I have a picture of the two of you.
I
sent you the
got
picture,
two
right?
bags.
No, I sent you the picture. I'll send it to you on your phone. I sent it to Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I made these costumes out of, I sewed a flamenco skirt out of garbage bags with ruffles out of different color garbage bags, and I sewed a shalwar kameez for my friend Rula danced in that performance also, and I was
Rula.
wearing some
Remember
sort of
Rula.
pseudo-Tunisian, those garbage bags that was sprayed with silver paint, and anyway, we had these complete garbage bag costumes. You and Elena are wrapped up in them, in the picture, so I'm gonna send it to you.
You have to have some more.
And she
Ask
graciously
Maura.
agreed to
Samara knows.
dance in this performance for me because I needed
Oh,
dancers.
no.
And she had
No, I
this
know
thing
her.
that she
Oh,
had
her
learned.
name.
Basically lines, but I'm not sure, where she would trip herself and fall, and trip herself and fall. And it was about I majored in community organizing, and it was about homelessness, and so, she was like, we all were walking down the aisle, falling down and getting up and falling down. And there was other parts to it too, but that was the main part of the dancing part of it. So anyway, she graciously did that, and I'm so happy that I have pictures of her in the flamenco garbage bags, which was different than her usual attire. She loved plants, and this is something that we shared, because was in the plant business. We would always talk about plants, and she was very attached to her plants. I remember when we were moving, we had to pack up all the plants, and yes.
Well, the one on the top of the piano is A2.
Yeah.
I mean A4, I'm sorry.
Yes.
We still have some of those plants. Taken very well care of.
Oh, I've seen pictures, I know. Yes, yes. And, and all her interests sort of, they contributed to her thinking about her art, and it wasn't like a big separation. They were all like in a big stew, like a big stew. And she enjoyed making things, and she applied the same kind of focus and passion into doing it. So she made, I remember when she was making costumes with coins, but I think this was a second iteration, because this was much later.
Oh, okay.
And I have some of those, which actually I brought and I gave to Roseanne today. And she was like, how long did she do that for? A couple of years, right? She was
One day
doing
we
that
were going from Cyprus to Egypt.
and collecting.
They stopped us. They checked each coin to make sure none of them was Egyptian
Oh,
coin.
wow.
You were like a restaurant.
I know she used a lot of Chinese ones because they had a whole.
Oh, yeah, she got together.
But yeah,
All
so,
nations.
yeah, many coins. So she did the coins. So she did the stained glass for a while. I'm sure you remember her solder.
Yeah, round up
Yeah, and then, yeah, I know her on Second Avenue. she was.
7th Avenue South.
Oh, yeah?
That was a school for it.
Oh, okay. I remember her doing that. I don't think it was as long as the class. No. And then, I remember a performance that we did where she had got these, she found somebody who was hand tie-dyeing silk, and costumes were made out of this gorgeous tie-dye silk. And then she had like these long lengths of it, and we were making turbans, so we're sitting on the floor in Second Avenue with the glue gun and a hat form and sewing, wherever it wasn't sticking. And we're just, and they were weird looking hats. And they were hard to dance with because they were big and they weren't real heavy. They weren't real heavy, but you had to make sure it stayed on your head and get into it with the costume fast. This was fast costume changes. And she was also a very good photographer. I was always impressed with her skill. Of course, a lot of the pictures were with hats. And she was close to her family. I remember her mother coming into the dressing room and we were dancing a band for that one show that we did there. And I remember meeting the mother for the first time. And,
Rosie.
yeah. She had beautiful skin. And I can picture Megan as a toddler. I mean, she was in art classes, she was dancing, she was wearing costumes, she was doing the whole thing, the whole thing.
And you helped us every single time.
And Barbara, her sister, she used to crochet beaded skirts for her, you know, to match the bra and the belt. And they weighed a lot. Those things were heavy, very heavy. She knew great places to go. Well, I think Faisal helped with that too. I remember one time, one of the best memories, the most fun I ever had in the summer, was when you were living, you rented a house on a little piece of land in Long Island Sound. And Najma and Lazaro and Rula and her husband Jorge and I went out there to visit. And Faisal had a bunch of kayaks. And we went out in the kayaks and it was really, I had never been in one before. And
I have to pull you.
No, I paddled.
She was going like this.
Maybe.
That house had no electricity, by the way. Do you remember that?
That I remember.
It had no electricity.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't
well,
matter to me.
No, we had no power in
You
that
didn't
house.
have fail.
But it was, I don't know.
Candles.
Faisal
Yeah, that's
made
it.
like a wonderful dinner. I can remember you sat with Lazaro and drank beer. That's what I remember. It was
Yeah.
like one of the most fun days I ever had. It was just so much fun. It was really fun. And that's what I mean by hard fun. Like, it just like, you have to work to make fun. And, I'm gonna end on a comical note so we don't all feel so bad. I knew Elena for almost 50 years. She pronounced my name wrong for all of those years. But I shouldn't feel bad because she knew Faisal even longer and pronounced his name wrong.